So we are doing more Pythagorean theorem, and it's going to do the same thing, right? We're still going to start with the a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The difference is, though, in the first one, we are missing the hypotenuse. Today, you're going to be missing the legs. So in 3-2, we had a missing hypotenuse. And that was like the letter C. In this one, in 3-3, we're going to have missing legs. And that's either A or B. And it doesn't matter which letter you give for it, A or B. And then it's going to have, like, it's going to mix it up. So you'll have to figure out, is the hypotenuse missing or is the leg missing? And it's not that different, but you solve them just a tiny bit differently. So it could look like this. And we got to practice our rounding. So let's round to the nearest tenth with this. We'll have our triangle. We'll have our right angle right here. We'll say this is 18. This is 31. And we don't know what that leg is. So again, the difference was before the hypotenuse was missing. This one, the C was missing. Now it's either A or B that is missing. So when we set these up, we're going to write like this: a squared plus 18 squared equals 31 squared. The first line is the same as what we did last time. You're going to square both of those. So 18 squared is 324. And then 31 squared is 961. But it's this line that's different. Yes? That's right. In this line, you, instead of adding those numbers together, because they're on the opposite sides of the equal sign, you subtract them. Look, you can think of it like the bell work. So like if we look at the first one in our bell work, it looks just like that. Just like this right here. Except the only difference is it has like a little exponent of squared there. But you're doing the same thing. So see how here we would subtract 30, right? In this line, subtract 30 and subtract 30. We're doing the same thing here, right? We're trying to get the a squared by itself. So that's the only difference, is now we're going to subtract 324 and subtract 324. Then we get a squared equals, and we got to figure out what that is, minus 324, 637. And then we're going to take the square root of each side, and we'll round it. So we'll take the square root of that to the nearest tenth. That's 25.2, because the 3, right, makes the 2 stay the same. Anytime we round, we should make like a little squiggly equal sign. So A is about 25.2. That's the majority of what we're going to do. Let's have you guys try one of those. Let's round this one to the nearest hundredth. Round to nearest hundredth. And I'll make a triangle. We'll say this one here is 7. This one is 14. What is that leg? Go for it on your own. See if you can set it up. It should look the same as what we did above. Try to fit it all in there. Again, remember, it doesn't matter if you leave it as the a squared is the one that's missing or the b. The b squared is one. It doesn't matter which one. You'll get the same answer either way. And again, we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. All right, let's try it out. See how you guys did. Should look like this. A squared plus 7 squared equals 14 squared. Again, if you made it 7 squared plus b squared, you'll get the same thing. The next line, a squared plus 49 equals 196. Then you subtract. A squared equals, I don't know off the top of my head, 196 minus 49, 147. Then you take the square root of 147. And we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So that 4 makes that 2 stay the same. A is about 12.12. How'd it go? You guys do okay? All right, the next thing it's going to have, last time we talked about it gives you an extra step sometimes. So the last time it gave you an extra step of finding the perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is where you add all 3 sides. So you use Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. And then once you find that missing side, you add all 3 sides up together. Well, the next one it's going to do, it's going to ask you to find the area. So we've got to go over the area formula. Anyone remember the area formula? You remember it? Yeah? Ooh, no. Anyone remember the area formula? Yeah? Ooh, 1/2 the base times the height. So we're going to multiply the base and the height and then divide it by 2. 1 second, guys. I've got to use this mic.
All right, I'll come by and see what we got.
We're in open grade today at the end of the day. All the kids are going to be in thing.
What time is that?
2:15.
Okay.
45.
Okay.
Thank you for this, by the way. All right. What's that? Yeah. So this is what it's going to look like. It'll give you a triangle. And the base and the height are the 2 legs. They're the ones that intersect at a 90-degree angle. So it'll give you something like, I don't know, this is 5 and this is 13. And we don't know that. But instead of just finding that, it's going to ask you to find the area. So you'll use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. And you're going to do this the same way that we just did this. Minus 25, minus 25. A squared equals 144. Take the square root, take the square root. A equals 12. But you're not done there because it's going to ask you to find the area. So then you're going to say the area equals 1/2 of 5 times 12. So then you're going to do 5 times 12, get an answer, and then you just take half of that, divide it by 2. There you go. The area is 30. Oh, and it'll give you some unit of measure, like inches. So then you'll say the area is 30 inches squared. So then you got to be careful, because now that they'll ask you to find its area. They might ask you to find its perimeter. They could ask you to find its area and perimeter, right? So we're using Pythagorean theorem to try to figure out something else. So it's like an extra step to it. The last thing that's going to happen, and on the quiz and on the test, it's going to have it mixed up. So you're going to have to figure out, is the leg missing or is the hypotenuse missing? And then be able to solve them, right, the different ways. So, right, it's not just going to tell you the leg is missing. You're going to have to figure that out. So that's going to be like these last two. We're going to do 2 examples, and I want to see if you guys can figure out which one is missing and solve it out the correct way. So we'll just do find the missing side. We won't do any extra steps with this. And we're going to do 3 of them. You're going to have to figure out, is the hypotenuse missing or is the leg missing, and then be able to solve it the right way. Remember, the hypotenuse is the one across from the 90-degree angle. So we're going to do this. I'm going to put our 90-degree angle here. So the first one's going to look like this. 7, 7, question mark. There's the first one. The second one. For all these, I want you to round to the nearest hundredth. So go for it. Try those 3 out, and then you're going to have to figure out what's missing. Is a leg missing, or is a hypotenuse missing? Once you figure that out, you have to make sure, are you going to add them or are you going to subtract them? I'll give you guys a little bit of time to try to work on those. Round to the nearest hundredth. All right, we're running a little low on time. It's okay if you didn't finish. Let's go through these and see if we can set them up. This first one, what's missing, a leg or a hypotenuse? So 7 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. 49 plus 49 equals c squared. 98 equals c squared. Take the square root. That's one where we add them together. And then the square root of 98. So that'd be 9.9, or yeah, 9.9, right? Because 89 would turn into 90. So 9.9 is about C. The second one, leg missing or hypotenuse missing? The leg, a squared plus 6 squared equals 14 squared. Again, you could have switched the b and the 6. A squared plus 36 equals 196. And then subtract this is one where you have to subtract, right? Because the leg is missing. A squared is 160. So again, look at the difference, right? This one, we add them together. When the leg is missing, we got to subtract them. And we take the square root of 160 to the nearest hundredth. That turns that to 65. 12.65. Oh, I forgot. Square root. A is about 12.65. And this last one, leg or hypotenuse missing? The hypotenuse, that's one where we add them together. 2 squared is 4. 11 squared is 121. 125 equals c squared, right? You add them now because the hypotenuse is missing. Take the square root and then round to the nearest hundredth. 11.18. And remember, every time we round, we say that it is about, right? Put the little squiggly line. So it's extremely similar to what we did last time. The only difference is the majority of the problems, the leg is going to be missing, so we subtract. They're going to give you area problems, not just perimeter, and they could do perimeter and area, and then they're going to go back and forth between the leg and the hypotenuse missing.